Hello folks. Now there is a story about Julius Caesar, and it's about when he crossed the Rubicon. Apparently the following phrase is attributed to him when he made a decision to go and make his incursion into what was then Galicia, France or whatever. He spoke the famous words "Alea iacta est", which is Latin for "the die has been cast", or basically the decision has been made. Can't go back now on it. But apparently he didn't actually use Latin. He used what at the time was the posh language to use, just like now people, in order to show off, would speak in Latin. Then they would speak in Greek. And apparently he used the phrase "anerifto kubos", which is very interesting, because that basically means that he said the die has been cast in Greek, and in Greek the word for die is kubos or kaibos or whatever, kubos. Which is very funny because that is of course related to our word cube. And then, considering that he actually crossed the Rubicon, you could say that in a real sense he was talking about Rubicon's cube. Now, isn't that nerdy of me? Anyway, talking about Rubik's Cube, this is a pattern that has been stumping me, right? It's not that I can't produce it, I obviously can. Look, I would call this the Russian dolls pattern. And you can see why. It's like there's a little cube inside a bigger cube inside yet another bigger cube. And it's just basically just produced by turning each individual inside cube around. Now obviously, it's not obvious to everybody, but this is not something that can normally be produced in a cube. You can't expect the rest of the cube to be solid. So in actual fact, the same pattern repeats on the other side of the cube. It is not in itself a very complex pattern as such. It isn't. It's just three cubes nested inside each other. Well, that's how it looks. And yet, I have never been able to come up with an elegant, quick sequence of turns to produce this. I always do it the messy way. I basically just mess up the cube and then put it back together, making sure that this pattern results rather than just a proper cube. But anyway, that's a digression. I was talking about the phrase "Alea iacta est". The die has been cast. The funny thing is that the die really should have been cast tomorrow. Now tomorrow is a very special day. I don't know whether you know this. Tomorrow is the 12th of February, which is Darwin Day. And it is also the day on which I have officially resigned from the shithole of a job that I have had the misfortune to have to work in for the last couple of years. I'm finally out of this rotten place. And that's the good news I wanted to impart on you all. I've just handed in my notice with effective from tomorrow morning, which means that I have 1 month of notice to work, and then it'll all be over. Thanks be to the Flying Spaghetti Monster.